Hey, this is Matt from RANE and I'm at Gear for Music, and today we're going to talk about the RANE ONE. The RANE ONE is the first controller from RANE and inherits all the same build quality and sound quality as our RANE 72, RANE 70 and 12 Mark II vinyl controllers. The heart of the RANE ONE is a 2-channel motorized controller for Serato DJ, but it's also compatible with algorithm DJ and virtual DJ as well. The jog wheels are 7.5-inch motorized with a removable acrylic disc. And these feature the same torque and performance as the RANE 12 Mark IIs. For connectivity on the back, we are fully featured with XLR and master on booth, RCA inputs which are line and phono switchable, so we can run the mixer in standalone if we want to. And also, mic 1 and 2 are a combi XLR and line connection. The RANE ONE is a fully featured controller for turntablists, scratch DJs, and of course mobile DJs as well. So let's take a look at some of the features. So on the mixer section here, we have a 3-band EQ per channel. We have access to 6 effects from Serato, and I can access this by just tapping my effects buttons. To trigger the effects, we use our paddles, which can also be found on the RANE 72 Mark II and RANE 70. We have a latching position at the top and unlatching. So this means we can trigger effects in a one-shot style or hold the effects for long blends. So for example, I can hit effect number 2, which in Serato is my reverb. Now I can tweak this effect using the depth control, and if I have a time-based effect, such as a delay, I have access to my beat values for that effect as well. I can also combine effects in Serato as well using my effects buttons. So for example, we can hit effect 2 and effect 4, and now I've got my reverb and delay in combination. Now I can keep adding to this and layering effects from Serato just by holding down the buttons. So let's go with all 3 effects here in the top row. The RANE ONE features a Mag 4 fader. This can also be found on the RANE 72 Mark II and the RANE 70. The Mag 4 builds on the previous design of the Mag 3 from the original 72. With the Mag 4, we have a fader that's 50% lighter, and we've also changed some of the components inside as well. So for turntablists and scratch DJs, this gives you maximum performance on your cuts. So to change your fader to your specific requirements, there are 3 ways of doing this. We have our contour control on the front of the unit. We can also remove the top faceplate and physically change the magnet position from the rail. And finally, within Serato, we have a cut and adjust, which is specific to the RANE ONE when in Serato mode. So with those 3 approaches, you can customize the fader to your exact specification. So for the integration with Serato, the RANE ONE has full access to all of Serato's pad modes, with our cues, saved loops, roll, sampler, and slicer. But now with the addition to scratch banks within Serato, we can now access this feature from the RANE ONE. I simply double tap sampler, and I'm now in my scratch banks. So scratch banks are essentially an extension of the existing Serato sampler, but this time we have more focus on performance for turntablist routines. So with scratch banks, I have 4 banks available within Serato with 8 slots in each bank. Now these slots can contain full tracks, scratch samples, loops, or one-shot samples. These can be integrated very easily in turntablist routines, but also in general mixing practice as well. So again, to access scratch banks, we simply double tap the sampler. So here I'm in bank number 1, and I have 8 full tracks saved on each bank. So if I hit the second pad, you can see there I have a scratch loop. When we're in scratch bank mode, we can still access the hot cues for that track. If we simply page back to hot cue, I can now trigger my hot cues that I've pre-prepared in that loop. To come out of scratch banks, I simply tap Shift and any of the pads to return to my previously playing track. So let's take a look at some more hardware features on the top of the RANE ONE. So at the top of each deck, we have our needle search, which is a touch strip where we can search through the track, then placing cue points. Also, for that truly old school feel, we have our plunger style start and stop button. So for anyone using turntables now, or has been coming from using turntables in the past, this will feel immediately familiar. To control Serato's browsing, we have 2 browse knobs on each deck as well. These also function as instant doubles as well. Underneath the needle search, we have control over our platter stop time, slip mode, and if I hold shift and press slip, this is our motor off mode. So the motor will be disengaged and the jog wheel will simply act as a nudge feature. Then we have our sensor and reverse feature. And if I hold shift and sensor, this will latch in reverse mode. Then finally, as a nod to the RANE 70, we have a dedicated loop section next to our pad modes. So in addition to being a dedicated Serato DJ controller, the RANE ONE also is compatible with Virtual DJ and Algorithm. And that's not just Algorithm for desktop, but also Algorithm for iOS as well. So the RANE ONE can be used in conjunction with a tablet or smartphone. So that's a quick look at the RANE ONE fully featured performance controller for turntablists and scratch DJs, or working DJs and mobile DJs as well. So with this unit, we've combined old school vinyl feel with modern day controller features. For more information on the RANE ONE, check out the Gear for Music website.